Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka and Blitz, and this is same but different. Same but different. What do I mean by that? Well, it is the old adage, all men are created equal, and by that we mean all humans, and by that we mean most humans are pretty much the same, apart from some humans tend to have more hair than others. I fall, unfortunately, on the lower end of that scale if you're judging by follicles. And I don't like to judge by follicles too often, but fair enough. If you want to say that I'm follically challenged, I'll buy into it. Now, this is 3 different games. In fact, it's really 2 different games and a little excerpt from one game in the M48. It's going to be the T110E4, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller. I'll tell you what, not all men are created equal, because some of them have a dog that won't shut up. I don't know if you can hear him in the background, but just of late, he's been quite vociferous in his protests while I'm on stream or I'm doing a video or something, to the point where I've just stopped trying to stop him because it just takes too long to finish the video. So that's Manu, the Wonder Dog, being a general punish. Now, this is the T110E4. Love this tank. Really, really great tank. Enjoy it a lot. Can't get enough of it. It's a wonderful tank to drive. And this, I think, is a pretty good game. It's a very cultured expression of the TD art. I mean, you're going to see I set up for this shot like at 5 minutes 43 or something. I'm looking over here and I know exactly where I'm going to push it. I've got the reticle all ready to go, and boom. I mean, that is nice, solid planning. And despite the fact that I'm in a TD, I'm right at the front of the pack. I'm angling up to the 62A now. He's not really even aware I was here because I wasn't spotted before I took that shot. And that's bad news for him, because he's going to cop a little dose of hot Yankee Doodle love. And I'm doing this on Thanksgiving, so it's pretty apt that 2 of the tanks I'm driving are American tanks. And we're pretty sure that one goes in, and we load up for the next one just in case he decides not to move. But alas and alack, he does move, and someone else decides to send him back to the garage. Now, I've pushed forward. There's me and our one other tank. I think it's an Object 140. There he is, running around there, doing his level best. The rest of the team is in A behind me. That's 5 tanks were behind me. 5 of them. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I think our E75 died in spawn or something. Have a bat chat. Don't mind if I do. I could probably fit a little more in, but it was indeed a tasty morsel. The 54, I love that T54. I mean, it's a silly play. It's pretty bloody silly. Not much on the map is spotted. He'd have to think that every one of them are sitting in A camping, but with the hope of the young and the restless and the silly, he pushes at everyone. Good on him. Love him. Cutto 150mm. Welcome to Blitz, or World of Campfest. Now, I have pretty much been the tip of the spear the whole game, apart from that 140, and everything's coming up roses. And the moral of this game has nothing really to do with the way it's being played. Although, that's not quite true. It does have a little bit to do with it. I know that there's a grill that's just been spotted on my right, there's a Jag Panzer E100, and there's a 183. And somewhere in there is an E75. We've got 2 caps, they've got 2 caps. Things are pretty finely balanced at the moment. I'm thinking that Jag Panzer's somewhere up there on the right, but I really want to get some shots into this hammer. And don't you love rolling in excess of 700 on the hammer? Here comes our IS-7. He was making the best use you can of a 120mm gun that you couldn't throw in the ocean if you were standing on the beach by sitting back at the A spawn. But for all that, he's now picked up his big boy pants, put them on, rolled his socks up, tucked his comb into his garters, and is ready for love. And he's looking for it and receiving it from all and sundry. I know it's safe to move now because the Jag Panzer E100 just put all his damages into the hammer, which means I'm looking over there and thinking, well, he should reload before the hammer gets out, and there's only 2 left. What possibly could go wrong? Moving back, there's an E75. Well, I couldn't fit a lot in, but I do have a dessert tummy. Why don't we fill up the dessert tummy as well? And we spank the E75 in the back with the AP, nearly 300mm of love and justice there. And someone else just grabs that last little morsel of E75. Would have loved that. That would have ticked me up towards 6,000 damage. But 1,103 XP, 5,211 damage, 8 shots fired. 1,103 XP. Now that's the key that I really want to talk about. XP. All men are not created equal in the eyes of XP. All women, humans, hippies, dogs, wombats, everything. Anyone that plays the game can tell you that the XP doesn't always match up to the damage number. Or it does, it matches up perfectly. This is an M48 brawl. Pretty much nothing has happened in the game for me so far before this brawl. All my damage is going to come in this brawl, and you can see I'm running around like a loose cannon, just trying to stay alive. Now, while I'm doing this, there is an FV4202 at the other end of the map, and he's farming up damage. He was sitting at the back of the map most of the game, and fair enough, he's a good player, does a good job, and he's driving a fairly, this is great fun. Angling to two tanks that you really don't want to get hit by, and just trying your level best to get a bounce or land some hesh or stay alive or do something sunny for somebody. And then, as if that's not bad enough, another E100 decides to turn up and bare his head, and I'm like, awesome. Doesn't get much more fun than this. But for all that, I've done a really good job. And I've managed to put some damage in, and I'm side hugging, get the bounce of a lifetime, and you can see the E100 is taking damage. He's taking copious amounts of damage, not from me, and I've spotted him up. And people are putting that damage in because I'm directly spotting the target. Now I got a lot of luck there, and that's a big part of why I actually managed to win. And the FV4202 did more damage than me in the long run. In fact, he sat at the back and really and just farmed up the damage, which is all well and good. I got 3 kills, he got 2, and Old Gun was his name. Let's have a look at the numbers. 2,600, 1,217 XP, 2 spotted, 1,800 spotting damage. So I got about the same XP as the FV4202, who did 4,200 damage. And I also got more XP than my previous game in the T110E4, where I did 5,200 damage and just walked away with 1,100 XP, 1,100 odd XP. And that's because the game calculates XP obviously in different ways, and that's why I made this video, because I've had quite a few questions about why can't I get a mastery in this tank, and I used to have the same problem. In fact, I couldn't get a mastery for love nor money in the E50 for like 600 games, and one of the reasons was that I was using the E50's gun in the old days of Blitz, when the spotting and dotting mechanic was really broken, i.e. you could be quite a long way away from the enemy, fire and not be seen, and just keep farming up damage. Long story short, I used to snipe a lot in the E50, and it did tremendously well. It was like 70% win rate, really, really solid tier 9 medium for me, but I couldn't get the mastery badge. I was reminded of this the other day when my good mate Sarnimal was running around in the Type 62 Dragon, and he was trying to get a mastery badge. And it reminded me of that, not because his playstyle was anything like that, but because I had the same issue, and Sarnimal's had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games in the 62 Dragon and still not been able to drag it across the line. No pun intended. If you want to get a mastery in a tank, do your damage up close and personal. You've got to have that combination of high damage, generally, and self-spotting, or at least being in the same proximity to the tank you're firing at. Because if you're not, you're sharing your XP with the guys around you, the guys who are spotting the tanks up. And that means that it's a lot harder to get a mastery. And you're going to see, I'm in the Leo 1 here, and I'm playing a very, very finely tuned game at the moment. I am wiggling and jiggling. Snake Eyes is up the top. I'm going to leave him on his own. Just come down here and finish off all the tanks I can. Snake's up there with 2 other blokes, and he's doing really, really well, but obviously he's under the pump, and he does like to ask for help early and often, my mate Maxi. And I'm going to do nearly exactly the same damage in this game as I did in the first game with the T110E4. And if I wanted to get a mastery in the T110E4, I would be far more aggressive. Problem with it is these days, so many tanks in Blitz at the present are playing in this very, very slow meta where everyone is standing off at tier 10 and waiting for the damage to come to them. And that generally means that it's become a little bit like World of Tanks PC, where the guy who's favouring the aggression and being a good, solid team player, taking up map space, can quite often be punished because the rest of the team doesn't move with him, and there's an awful lot of camping going on. For all that, it's not that bad. And you can see in this game, I've farmed damage by only really putting myself in harm's way a couple of times and really doing hit point trades once because I was pretty confident I had enough hit points to outlast that T-57 Heavy. And I've managed to pump out just over 5,000 damage. And I get the Mastery Badge because unlike the previous two games, I both did high damage and did it mostly within a close proximity of the tanks that I were doing damage to. In fact, I did a little bit less damage than I did in the T110E4 game, and I got 1,488 XP. Now, I don't think I actually look at my spotted damage in this game, but I don't think it would have been particularly large because I was basically hitting targets that were either spotted prior or were right in my view range at the same time as I were in the view range of a lot of other tanks. So there you have it. If you want to get the Mastery Badge and it's eluding you on some tanks, you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive and risk it for the biscuit. Because if you don't, you're basically farming damage, all well and good, but you've got to do tremendously large numbers of it in popular tanks because most people who are getting the spotting damage and doing the farming damage themselves, like you can spot a target, damage it, all well and good, but if someone else spotters that target and you hit it, they get half the XP for the damage you're doing. Pretty rough, if you ask me. But that's how Blitz works, and that's one of the reasons why I quite enjoy playing the passive spotter role in a light tank at times, moving through bushes and just keeping people lit, painting targets for my teammates, because, you know, you get XP for doing that as well. And XP is really more of a... I think XP is a far more effective judge of quality of gameplay at times than damage, for the most part. Well, not always, but for the most part. Anyway, boys and girls, look after yourselves, stay safe on the battlefield, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you're thinking about becoming a patron, knock my socks off, because the more patrons, the merrier, and we're certainly doing a lot more stuff for patrons now. All these videos are going up 4 or 5 days in advance. The patrons get to see them early. They get to pick and choose the ones that they're really keen on. And they also get a video every week that is just for patrons only. That's a exclusive little bit of a hat tip for the patrons. Until next time, boys and girls, look after yourselves. Stay safe on the battlefield, and bye for now.